Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show and our usual Monday night roundup here, looking at the weekend's action. And frankly, to start with, what a dismal weekend of action it has been from most other sides across our region. I'm Chris Bell. Delighted to say, though, to go through this depressing round of the weekend, I've got Stephen Browne, Gareth Walker, and Stephen Downes with me. How are we all, gents? Are we well?
No.
Depressed.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Monday Show. Woo!
Genuinely, I couldn't quite tell then if it was all just a little bit laggy or if you were all that depressed that you just weren't going to bother responding, to be honest.
You forced us here, Chris, to talk about this crap.
I was saying before, I only come on the show when Leeds have lost.
We noticed how Jay never comes on because you never win.
We do occasionally get Jay. We do, to be fair. It doesn't really matter where we start. It's all depression. So we'll start with Brownie because he's usually the pessimistic Leeds angle that we look for here on the West Yorkshire Football Show anyway. So we may as well start from the top today and start with Leeds United. And Brownie, a 3-0 defeat for Daniel Farke's side at Brighton. I know Jay seems to be undeterred, I think is the word I'm going to use, by that defeat. He still seems optimistic. He still seems fairly confident that things will be all right anyway, and that it was just kind of one of those days where everyone was a little bit off the pace, everyone looked a bit sluggish, and Brighton, when they created them, took the chances.
Yeah. I mean, when we did our review at the weekend, I was keen to point out a pretty big caveat at the start of the show because I was absolutely fuming with the performance. I was really, really mad watching that game. I thought Leeds were absolutely pathetic. Worst performance of the season, but I didn't want to kind of, right, let's set fire to it all. It means it's terrible. It's not going well, blah, blah, blah. It was very much just on that performance alone. Generally speaking, we're in a good position for what we are. I mean, I think we are a bottom three squad. I don't think there's any doubt about it, especially when you look at West Ham being in that bottom three and the quality they've got. They've dispatched Newcastle yesterday. I think we have got a bottom three squad. And despite the gap just being 4 points now, I would have still taken that after 11 games. But that being said, there's concerns. Away form's terrible. We've only scored against Wolves. The performances don't seem to be replicated away from home as what they are at Ellen Road. Saturday was bad. It was bad. It was not competitive. We didn't get in the faces of Brighton, and there's been a lot of praise for Brighton. I was listening to a couple of podcasts today, and people saying, "Oh, Brighton have done what Brighton can do." I don't think Brighton had to get out of second gear to beat Leeds at the weekend. I really don't. They started to play some really nice stuff when they were 2-0 up, and it was obviously party time, and Leeds had no chance of coming back into it. But I didn't think Brighton were fantastic. We've got some great players, etc. But I thought it was a massive off day for Leeds. Never got going in any aspect. The midfield was a big concern. I think me and Jay both said midfield at the start of the season. That's where we thought we'd be most competitive. That's where we thought what quality there is in this squad is in the midfield, but none of them showed up. Longstaff, who's been a real threat on set pieces, his set pieces were terrible. Tanaka had the chance to start back-to-back games and he was poor. And Ampadu had a real shocker, kept giving the ball away. And if those three are all off form together, if that midfield's not competing, Leeds are in big trouble. And they've got to be bang at it. It sets up a huge game against Forest at the weekend. I think Forest, you can see that they're rejuvenated a bit with Dyche. He does what Dyche does. He goes into a struggling team and he gets them competing. They've got very talented players. Morgan Gibbs-White. They've got the starting central midfielder for England, Elliot Anderson. They're a good team, really good team. And if Dyche gets them firing again, that's a really difficult match next week. So I get the sense amongst the Leeds fan base today, it is a little bit down. It's a little bit kind of, a reality check. I think a little bit. It's we knew we were going to lose a lot of games this season. but it's it's still quite difficult to take. But look, the 17th this season, if we can do it, however we do it, it's great past it, whatever. If we've got to lose every away game, but take points at home, so be it. It's difficult. You've just got to strap yourself in. We know what the Premier League's like. It's really hard, and we've just got to try and grind out something. But I want to see us perform a little bit better. Look, you can take losing games, especially at Premier League level, but let's not just roll over. Let's try and be competitive at least.
Yeah, I mean, let's kind of look at the table then as it stands. Obviously, Everton are the only side that are on the table that are in action. Currently, they are 0-0 away at Sunderland, and look, it's all still very, very tight.
Yeah, absolutely, and like I say, I would have taken this position at the start of the season after 10 or 11 games. So. Yeah, there's not much between it. I think the worrying thing is the quality of West Ham and Nottingham Forest in terms of their squad. They have got quality. Look what West Ham have done there to Newcastle yesterday. So that says everything. I think Wolves, they look pretty much done. Gary O'Neill's now out of the running for manager. For them, he's kind of taking himself out of the running. You're kind of going, what is going on at Wolves? If you're going back to your manager that you got rid of 12 months ago, it's just pretty much madness, it seems. But everybody else has got a fighting chance. Everyone else has got a fighting chance. Burnley, they've probably exceeded expectations as well. I think everyone just thought they were going to just turn up and sit bottom of the league. And I did see someone draw a comparison to Leicester last season, who after the same amount of games were in a similar position to Leeds. And of course, we all know how that turned out for Leicester. By the way, that was after they sacked Steve Cooper as well. So a little warning from history, perhaps, for us. But yeah, it's tight. It's tight down there. Good win for Fulham as well at the weekend. So it lifts them. Everton are doing what Everton do, aren't they? I mean, they just
Everton
doesn't seem to matter what happens, does it? Have they just scored? Right, fair enough.
Illiman and Die with an absolute belter of a goal, to be fair, solo goal. So Everton so you can add a couple of points, because that's, I think, after the Everton game had kicked off. That's why it says that he'll play 10 games. So you can add a couple of points onto Everton if it stays that way.
They'll never go down under Moyes. That's just, you might as well rule it out of the equation. They'll never go down.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm a bit surprised that have you just seen out now about Gary O'Neill, Steve? Because I earlier today, that's all I ever saw.
It looked like it was going to happen, didn't it? But no, he's just announced he's not in the running.
If they'd have got Gary O'Neill, he would have definitely galvanised the squad. I think they'd still finish bottom, but he'd certainly get them. I think he'd get them a number of points on the board just by being defensively sound with them. I think your big problem is whether Dyche can get Forest really going, to be honest, because West Ham, I still don't really. I know they beat Newcastle, but from what I saw the other day, Newcastle were really poor. They were on it at all, and I don't think without Bowen, I don't see West Ham being that good. I thought you were excellent against West Ham in terms of dominating the football, being the better side. You were unlucky in a number of chances. I think I'm surprised that you're so calm about it, Brownie. I knew Jay would be like, well, there's only 11 games gone and whatever. But this period that you've been in, I sort of said, I think I was on here with Lou, and it might have been just me, Lou, and Gaz. And I said that you needed 10 points out of the Burnley, West Ham, Brighton, and Forest games, and Lou seemed to agree. And I don't think you're not going to get nowhere near that, are you?
No, I think what it is, I don't know. I get what you're saying. I think probably, do you know what it is? I think it's kind of as experience in the Premier League last time and how difficult it was, and I just really feel that the squad is a bottom three squad, and it's kind of, if we do survive this season, it's almost like a bonus, really. I think me and Jay both kind of settled into the fact that it's really tough. We're going to lose a lot of games, so there's just no point losing this head. Look, there's no point. There's no doubt in it's disappointing. I hate results like the weekend and that feeling you've got after it. And I think we've got to be really, really careful going forward because we've got a really tough run of games after the Forest game. You're playing Man City, Liverpool, Villa. Yeah, there you go. It's a nasty, nasty month. It's December. And the problem is, is confidence. Like I don't know. I don't know what you lads think, but I think an kind of appreciated or undervalued kind of aspect of football is confidence and players playing with confidence. And I think if we get to that point where we lose our confidence, it's going to be major problems. And we didn't look confident at the weekend. We looked a bit scared to death, to be quite honest. Where the team is scared to press and scared to get a tackle in. They're not brave on the ball. It was just really lacking in confidence. And my worry is, if you kind of take that forward, because if you start getting pumped by Liverpool and City and these kind of things, your confidence goes, doesn't it? And you might, it's like a kiss of death. So what we've got to do is be how we were earlier in the season. We weren't conceding goals earlier in the season. We were battling and fighting and getting points. So hopefully we can do that. In those tough runs of fixtures.
I mean, I'm just going to bring up those next three games again. As you can see, obviously it's that big game against Forest. Obviously, then Leeds host Villa, and Villa have been a little bit hit and miss of late, and then obviously a trip to Manchester City. I want to bring Gaz in because I'm pretty aware that Gaz hasn't had a chance to say a great deal so far. But obviously, you know the Premier League well as a man that follows Liverpool as well. I mean, looking at that from Leeds' perspective, Gaz, the games that they've got coming up. And the fact that when you go into December, there's games against Chelsea and who else is in December? Brownie, quickly remind me, Arsenal's in there as well, and Liverpool, and like the next couple in particular, Gaz, for Leeds look crucial, don't they? That Forest away and Villa at home.
Yeah, I think I've not chipped in, lads, because there is a horrible delay, and I don't know if it's just at my end, but I didn't want to start talking over people, but. Looking at what you've got brought up there, for me, if I'm a Leeds fan, I'm really wishing that Forest game was at home, because you need to pick up points, and you look a lot more likely to be doing that at home at the moment. I kind of agree with what Downesy said a few minutes ago about the last few games. You've probably not picked up enough points. Certainly not the points that you would have wanted to pick up. The thing that would be worrying me as well is. Well, it's not necessarily a worry, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with West Ham now because they've got that win. Now, can they use that as a bounce and go on a run? As you said, Brownie, their squad is probably one of the better squads, them and Forest. They've got the two. Just bring the table up for me again, Chris, that you had up a minute ago.
Give me 1 second, will do. I also just want to quickly caveat something on them because I've just quickly glanced and West Ham's next game is against Burnley at the London Stadium.
Well, I was looking at that table when you had it up before, and I honestly think, and it's just my opinion, so don't bite my head off, but I think the three relegated teams are going to come out of those bottom five. I think they are. I don't think Everton are in trouble. Everton won't go down under Moyes. Newcastle will sort themselves out. Possibly anyone getting sucked in. Brentford, but I said that at the start of the season, and they've really exceeded expectations for me personally because I thought they were banging trouble. But I do think it'll be that bottom five. I think it'll be that bottom five and possibly Brentford. So you're talking 3 from 5, 3 from 6. I think Wolves, they need to pull something out of the bag with regarding the manager because they just look an absolute basket case. And if they don't do that, the fact in itself that they were getting linked with bringing Gary O'Neill back just shows you what a mess they're in. And unless they pull a rabbit out, I think they're gone. Forest and West Ham, as Brownie said, they're the two with probably the best two squads that are down there, and they've both got new managers in now. So it's a worry, isn't it? I just think your home form. You need to start picking up points away from home. You can't just rely on your home form.
Yeah.
You mentioned Villa before. I mean, Villa started slowly. Is that your next but one game? You've Forest and then Villa.
Yeah, international break, I think, after Forest, and then, we come back and it's Villa. Yeah,
I mean, Villa started slowly, but then they went on a decent run, and I think they were 3 or 4 1 on the bounce before the weekend. They lost at Liverpool on Saturday, but, prior to that, they looked good. So Yeah, I would be worried, and I don't want to depress you, Brownie, but I would be. With those fixtures coming up, I think you need to get some at Forest. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I think I heard Lou on a podcast previously saying we've got to throw in a shock result somewhere. You know, it's like Sunderland beating Chelsea the other week. You know, you've got at some point you're going to have to upset the apple
He's
cart.
right.
Yeah,
I think he's right. I think at some point you are going to have to stun either a Man City away or a Chelsea or a Liverpool sort of thing. Downes, you've got another point that you wanted to make.
Yeah, just bring that table up again. Sorry, Chris. I just wanted to do it as you were drinking. But yeah, look at the goal difference, Brownie. I mean, that's a big problem as well, isn't it? The fact that not necessarily like the goals against, because you look at like the goals against column, and there are far worse teams against, but that goals for is, I mean, Everton don't score a lot, so they've scored the same as you. And Aston Villa, who haven't really got going, but I think the goal difference is not good, mate. To be honest, and
No.
I expect Forest to improve in their goals for, certainly from where they are.
Yeah, it's
and just to interject, Brownie, lo and behold, the goals scored could be the problem. And we spent the entire summer transfer window saying, well, that forward line and attacking midfield is going to be an issue for Leeds United. And here we are 10 games in.
Yeah, it's I mean, absolutely. I mean, Farker said, over and over again, he needed more attacking options. He didn't get it. I mentioned to Jay, we spent £15 million on our attack this summer. We got 2 free strikers in, and we paid about £15 million for Okafor. Whereas I think if at the start of the summer you said, well, Leeds United are going to go into the Premier League and spend £15 million on their attack, you'd have thought, Christ, we're going straight back down. The defence is conceding goals is it's kind of snuck up on us. We had a really tight defence at the start of the season. First 3-4 games, we looked really mean defensively, and a switch has been pulled, and now we're conceding 2s and 3s. Which is concerning. We need to tighten up. I know we were getting criticised a lot because we weren't scoring, so I don't know if it's a case of they've kind of opened up a little bit, and then we're starting to get hit the other way. So yeah, there's a few different things to consider. But we're going to be a struggling side, so we're not going to be perfect at both ends of the pitch. But I just want us to stay competitive. That's what I just want us to stay competitive. I don't want to see too many games like Saturday where you never, you're not even close. Nowhere near. Let's get to 70th, 80th minute. In a position where we're drawing, or just give ourselves a chance. So yeah, it's going to be tricky.
I think it's just key that you like I say, it's going to depend on whether West Ham now have a bounce, how the two managers affect Forest and West Ham. But from a Leeds point of view, it's picking up points away from home as well as at home. They're the things that stand out to me after the weekend.
Yeah, this is it, and the away form is massively concerning because it's we've only scored against Wolves away from home, and Wolves are pretty terrible. And it's a weird thing. We look a shadow away from home. We really do at the minute. Last couple of performances. So yeah, it's a strange one. Hopefully Farker can get something out of the squad away from home. I'm not expecting a tactical revolution. I'm not expecting different formations. And I mean, a couple of the main criticism for me with Farker at the minute, and as you all know, myself and Jay were right behind Farker, but this idea that you keep the winning team regardless. So we beat West Ham, and he keeps exactly the same team for the next game, and it for me, Stack should have come in. I said it before the game. I thought Stack should have come in for that a bit more physicality over Tanaka. He did the same when we beat Everton first game of the season. He kept Peru. I think if you'd have asked any Leeds fan, should Peru be starting against Arsenal, where they'd have said no. So look, it's probably nitpicking, but if we can kind of improve in that area, hopefully we'll start doing something away from home. I know. I mean, Jay always points out the fact that Forest stayed up a few years ago with just one win away from home in the entire season. So, maybe it can be done, but I would certainly like to see, see it start to pick up a little bit away from home.
Final kind of thought then, looking ahead, obviously, to that Forest game of the weekend. What are you expecting out of it? Obviously, we know what you want out of it, which is ideally 3 points, but what are you expecting? And I'm going to push you for a score prediction as well.
I'm worried. I'm worried because I could see an early goal for Forest and it becoming really difficult for us. That's what I'm concerned for. That's what's in the back of my head after the weekend. And if that happens, then I'd be worried about what could end up happening. In terms of a prediction, I'd love to back him. I'd love to say a draw. I really would, but I don't know. I just think a Dyche rejuvenated Forest. I'm not sure it's going to be. It's going to be really difficult. We need to shock people. We need to turn up. We need to prove that we can dig it out. I mean, Forest are below us in the league. We've got to have some belief.
Yeah, that's fair. But we'll see what Saturday brings. Is it Saturday? Actually, I got that wrong. Is it
Sunday? Sunday.
Sunday,
week.
yeah, Sunday
One of those
afternoon.
horrible Sunday 2:00. I hate that time for a kickoff. It just doesn't feel right.
Is that because you're always out busy and occupied doing something else with the
No, I always clear my calendar for Leeds. Don't worry about that.
Let's turn our attention then to the FA Cup. And as mentioned earlier, it was a pretty bleak weekend for all the sides in our region. Huddersfield going out, Bradford going out, Halifax Town all going out over the course of the weekend. We'll start, though, with Bradford City. And Gaz, I know obviously you didn't make the trip to Cheltenham, but the reason we're kind of coming to you is because it was a 1-0 defeat to Cheltenham. A little bit of controversy in the goal, and I'll be honest, having watched it back, I still can't quite work out what happens. I hear the whistle, but I'm like, where does that whistle come from, by the way, for a start? Because there's a definite whistle, but it's not from the referee, is it?
Well, I don't know, mate. You know as much as me. I didn't see the game, like you said. It wasn't on telly, and I didn't go down to Cheltenham, so hence there was no post-match review from myself. But having read about it, that is the controversial element of the game. 2 minutes in, the interesting thing is that he obviously blows for the free kick to be taken, and then there's another whistle while the ball's in the air, which is quite audible. The commentators all said they heard it. I think even Steve Cottrell said he heard it. Obviously, the players heard it. Some players stopped, some players didn't. City and Cheltenham. Some Cheltenham players stopped as well as some City players, but Isaac Hutchinson didn't stop, and Isaac Hutchinson headed the ball in at the back post. But where that whistle came from, I don't know. I don't think we've had a proper explanation from the referee, because I listened to Chris Lucchetti after the match. Graham Alexander actually got sent off after the match for arguing with the referee, dissent or whatever, presumably about that incident, having already spoken to him at half-time, I must add. And so Chris Lucchetti did the interview afterwards, and Chris Lucchetti said that all the referee said was there was a second whistle. Well, if there was a second whistle, then surely that is what we're arguing. That's what we're saying happened, and that is why we're saying that the free kick should have been retaken. Some Cheltenham players are suggesting.
Are we saying that the referee said there was a second whistle, and more crucially in this, that he blew it? Because I've seen the clip on social media. I don't know if you've had the chance to see it, Gaz, but it's been doing the rounds on X and the whatnot. And you look at it, and obviously there's the whistle that the free kick is then taken, and then as you say, it's in the air, there's a second whistle. And I'm thinking, well, there's nothing in there that would cause the referee to blow it. So for me, my first thought was that's come from somebody in the crowd.
There was a suggestion from, I think it was a Cheltenham player, because I listened to Steve Cottrell after the match as well, and apparently, well, he was quite sympathetic. You got the impression that Cottrell thought that we'd been hard done by the way he was talking. Perhaps thought it should have been retaken, but he said that one of the players had told him that he thought the referee accidentally blew it while he had it in his mouth after blowing the first. So he's blown the whistle, kept the whistle in his mouth, and then accidentally blown it again while it's in the air. That's what one of the Cheltenham players has suggested. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. We've not had a proper. We don't know. The referees don't explain themselves, do they? So, I don't suppose we'll ever know. But like I say, the goal stood, and what happened in the rest of the game was a case of attack against defence, from what I can gather, and we've just not managed to score.
Mad. And let's say it is one of those that it is very unlikely that an explanation will come. As you say, City were kind of they certainly ended up having the chances to get the equalising goal, but obviously just one of those afternoons. And obviously we also need to touch on, seeing as that we're both here as well, the game before that as well, the goalless draw between Bradford and Lincoln on Tuesday night. But obviously goals at the moment for Lincoln as well, but actually for Bradford, of course, obviously not easy to come by in the last couple of games, Gaz.
No, that is the one concern, if there is any at the moment. The goals have dried up a little bit. I think we've got one goal in the last 3 games at the moment. We scored at Stevenage in the previous league game, the game before we played Lincoln, and that was a deflected shot from a centre-half from a corner. It hit it, and it's deflected off a defender and gone in. And then, like I said, goalless draw against Lincoln and a 1-0 defeat at Cheltenham. So it is a little bit of a worry that the goals have dried up. But I just get the impression on Saturday it just weren't one of our days. We were a bit wasteful in front of goal. I believe that, is it Ryan? I don't know what the guy's called. Day, I don't know his first name. Day, the Cheltenham goalkeeper, had a bit of an inspired performance from what I can gather. We are missing certain players in attacking areas, or we have been. I think Poynton's a huge miss. He's been out for about 3 weeks now. He's somebody that can make things happen or score a goal out of nothing. The game against Lincoln, I did my post-match. We've not really spoken about it, have we, Chris? But I thought Lincoln started the game stronger, looked the more likely to do anything, and then but as the game wore on and towards the end, it was City that looked the more likely, but neither of them really took the chances in front of goal, but off both teams. Had chances again and didn't take them. So it is a little bit of a worry. Hopefully, we're getting most of our players back. I don't know about Poynton himself. I would imagine that Jamie Rayner will ask Graham Alexander about him in the press conference on Wednesday, how close he is. But if we can get him back, as well as, Sarcevic was missing on Saturday, having actually played against Lincoln. Cook's got his first 90 minutes under his belt. Swan and Kavanagh need to find goals from somewhere. Swans have dried up a little bit, but yeah, we just need to bounce back and find some goals. If we can get scoring again, I think we'll start picking up points. But it is 4 consecutive draws in the league and a loss in the FA Cup, unfortunately.
Yeah, and looking ahead to the weekend, look, you could take Downes' approach. It's only Burton Albion. You should be beating them, shouldn't you?
I think me and you argued with him at the time, didn't we, Chris, that Gary Bowyer will set up, will bring... These are the games that Gary Bowyer practices for week in, week out, because he approaches most games, I would say, especially away from home. He even did it when he was City manager, where it is just basically defend for your lives and waste time and kill the game. And Downesy is obviously got first-hand experience of it the other week when Town played them. But we know what we're going to come up against with Burton. I think scoring a goal in that kind of environment is going to be even more difficult than it is in a more open game. But an early goal would be crucial. If we can get an early goal, then Burton have to come out and play. The longer the game goes on, the more difficult it gets. We've seen it numerous times before with all our teams, haven't we? When teams just come to defend and sit in and waste time and kill the game. And that is what's going to happen on Saturday, and we've got to be ready for that. And I just hope that A, we score an early goal, and B, we get a referee that can be strong enough to clamp down on stuff like that.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's one of those where the referee will have to make sure that he's got his stopwatch well charged and ready to go, because there's going to be a lot of time to add on. You're expecting that one. What are you expecting then? We'll kind of wrap up with Bradford now in terms of any other business. What are you expecting from it? Do you think you're able to find the shooting boots to get the goals you need?
Well, I hope so. Like I say, I think a lot of it depends on whether we can get Poynton back in the team. Obviously, Cook's now got 90 minutes under his belt. Kavanagh has been in and out of the team. He seems to be a favourite of Alexander's and have been playing a lot lately. Swan's been in and out a little bit. He's mixing the options up and rotating them. I would hope that Sarcevic is fit, having sat out on Saturday. We have the options there. We have the firepower there in the squad. It's just a case of, I would imagine it's one of those where you get one, you probably get 2 or 3, but it depends how early that goal comes on Saturday. If we struggle, and like I said, the game rumbles on without a breakthrough, then it's going to become more and more difficult. I'd be interested to know what you thought of the City Lincoln game, Chris, because we've not actually spoken ourselves, have we? So, from a Lincoln perspective, what did you make of it?
Well, we'd only scored, I think, 1 goal in the previous 4 games coming into that Bradford game, or including that Bradford game as it was. And weirdly, the 1 goal that we scored was also a 1-0 win against Stevenage.
Really?
Yeah. At half-time, I think I said to Jake, because obviously, whilst you were in the home end, there was myself, there was Downsy, there was Jay and Lou, all with me in the away end. So I was just praying that we didn't get battered, to be honest. So that these 3 didn't take the absolute mick. And at half-time, I think I said to Jay that I was hopeful that after what was a largely decent first half, I think first half an hour or so, we did all right. We didn't create too much, or we certainly didn't test the keeper enough with the possession and the way we were playing. But I said at halftime that I was fairly pleased. We can kind of kick on. We could nick it 1-0 or something. And then obviously I think second half, you certainly started the second half a lot better. We kind of tried to hit on the counter attack. Probably to be fair, for most of that half, our kind of style was to try and hit on the counter and let you have more of the ball and see what you could do with it. And our best chance, I think, was probably the Ben House effort in front of the TL Dana stand where he puts it straight at the keeper. And like me and Jage looked at each other and were like, you've got to shoot high. If he shoots high at that point and goes for a top corner or just roof of the net, I think he probably finishes it. But he gave it like Walker far too much of a chance to make that save. And then the last 10-15, I really thought you put us under the cosh, to be fair. I was dreading it because I was like, we're going to conceding late here. And but for a cracking save from Wickham, I think it was Andy Cook with a late header in added time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, I think to be fair, come the end of it, I was like, you know what, that's not a bad point on the road. Not many sides are going to come to City and take anything away. Lou thought it was a terrible game of football. I didn't think it was that bad myself.
Do you want a TV view? I watched it on TV. Do you want to know what I thought of it?
Oh, go on, Brown. I mean,
no, do you know what?
I'm curious.
I honestly thought it were decent. I thought it was a decent watch. I thought it was a steady watch. I really, honestly, I wasn't bored. There were plenty going on. I thought Lincoln played some nice stuff, actually, some really nice stuff. I thought you had a really good start, and you had a couple of really good chances early on, didn't you? And then I thought City just kind of found a way into the game, and you can see with City how intense they try to be. Getting in people's faces and direct. I thought it was a good clash. I'm probably too used to Premier League games where it's like pass 9 million times and do nothing with it kind of thing. So I thought it was quite refreshing.
It was a really nice change for you in that case.
It was, yeah, it was. I liked it. It was a good watch actually. So I was surprised. A couple of my other City supporting mates, they were like, "God, that were awful. That were one of the worst games of the season." I was like, "Really?" I didn't think I thought it was all right.
I thought for the first 25 minutes, I thought City were awful. They couldn't string 2 passes together, and Lincoln looked a level above us in that first 25 minutes. They played some really good football.
I was really surprised.
And then, as you two have both said, yeah, City sort of, as the game went on, sort of calmed down and found a foothold in the game and sort of improved as it went on. But that first 25 minutes, it's probably the worst we've played all season until we suddenly sort of found our feet and got our heads straight. But it was interesting you said that about the second half, Chris, where we had the ball more in the second half, because it was like that, because we talked about it on the previous pod about how both teams don't like to have the ball. And it was a little bit like in the first half, Lincoln had the ball, and in the second half, we had the ball. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. I mean, Downsy, what did you make it? Obviously, you were there. Frankly, Downsy, he'll not thank me for saying this, but he was living his best life in the away end. He was loving the atmosphere in the Lincoln fans. Lou, him and his carer Lou for the evening. Downsy, what did you make? You were loving it.
Well, I try and get into the atmosphere. I don't sit like Jay did, where his arms folded for 90 minutes, just look miserable as sin. Me and Lou tried to make the best out of it. Lou was obviously very, very anti Bradford City.
I have
he
never
was shouting,
seen Lou's green and white for Avenue come out quite so much ever in all the years I've known Lou as it did when he had to sit inside Valley Parade.
He was shouting expletives across the way at Gaz, and luckily Gaz couldn't hear him. No, I thought, listen, like, obviously being in League One with my club, I thought Lincoln were the better team. But City ultimately had the better chances. I thought Lincoln really only had one major chance, and I don't know why the lad went for the near post when, really the natural thing to do is go for the far post with that effort. But City, I thought, had the big chances. The thing for me is when Bradford don't take those big chances, they don't look like an amazing side. Now, I'm going to get pillared now in a minute, not by Gaz, by probably the 17 other Bradford City fans that I know for saying that. But it's just my sort of thoughts about how City look. When City are very good and on it and take the chances, they're a good side. But when they don't, and they miss those big chances, they don't seem like a side that are absolutely amazing, like watching, I don't know, Birmingham last year or Wrexham or, the previous sides that we've seen in League One that have absolutely rattled through teams and ultimately gone up. So it was a very even contest. I wish I'd have put a bet on it at 0-0 because Lou said it was going to be 0-0 and we could have all won millions of pounds from it, but we didn't because we're all idiots. None of us listened to Lou. And yeah, it was a typical League One game. There wasn't a lot of quality, but the bits of quality that they were just not taken. So if Lincoln had a man that could finish his dinner up top and create a few more chances, then get that final ball in. I think sort of Lincoln probably would have won the game, but that didn't happen. And their number and the number 20 for Lincoln was horrific. I mean, genuinely, that lad wouldn't even make it at Halifax. Never mind bloody Lincoln.
It's very peculiar that Downsy's taken that approach because Downsy is the only person I know that wasn't particularly enamoured with Justin Abiku's performance.
No, Lou agreed with me.
And even Scavalla praised him afterwards with his work rate and stuff. I think he worked really hard. His touch is a little bit hit and miss, but he's
a miss.
He held the ball up superbly on some occasions.
It was about 90% miss and 10% hit, but fair enough. I mean, Scoobs knows what he's on about, doesn't he? The old Scoobs.
And as I say today, he's only 19, 20-year-old non-loan from Coventry, so give the kid. And to be fair as well, and I said this to you at the time as well, but that was his first league start as well for us. So, what were you saying? Sorry, Brownie. I think you tried to say something as Downsy was.
Yeah, the Lincoln striker Collins. He were. What did you make of his performance?
He's honestly disappointing, and we said it actually on Tuesday night. And then I went to the Salford game in the FA Cup for Lincoln at Salford on Saturday, and he did the exact same thing in both games. For a man who's scored over 200 career league goals, he spent so much time dropping deeper and deeper and dropping to it was like watching Harry Kane for England. Like, you've got a perfectly good goal scorer there in James Collins. Why is he dropping deeper and deeper and close to the halfway line? It was really, really peculiar. Now, I kind of, to a point, I can get it because what Lincoln started with, certainly at Bradford on Tuesday night, was a flat back four, two centre mids, and then three behind one. But all four of those front forward players were strikers. Just so there was a bit of fluidity in terms of, somebody would drop off, other players would run in behind. But for Collins, he hasn't got the pace to make the runs anymore that he used to be able to do. So you want him to be that focal point in the box, and he just wasn't it.
He was listed.
Yeah, he was listed the same against Salford on Saturday. Sorry, Gaz.
No, I was just going to say he was listed on the team sheet as playing in the 10, but like you say, if it's more of a fluid front four anyway, then he isn't strictly restricted to that position, is he? So that was he actually missed a big chance early doors. I know you talked about the Ben House one in the second half. Collins missed one very, very early doors, like the ball came across.
Yeah.
I mean, just skied it.
So you probably got a far better angle on that one, and the ball probably hit you in the face. That's how far over the crossbar it went.
Yeah, because you know where I sit, don't
you? Lou's comment to that was, "Is the lad playing for Bradford Bowls? And what a conversion!" Which I thought was quite apt for Lou, to be honest. Me and Lou being rugby league fans.
That chance for Collins and the one for House were probably the equal of the one for Cook and the one that Tyreek Wright / Tommy Lee managed to mess up somehow in the second half. I mean, Tyreek Wright has a shot across the keeper that the keeper actually makes a decent save for him, and it falls to Tommy Lee, who's got time to take a touch, and instead hits it first time and skies it over the bar. So I think two or three big chances each was probably shows you that a 0-0 was probably the right result when neither of them could take those chances.
Yeah, it's fair to say that.
Sorry, Chris. No, I was going to say I thought Max Power was excellent. I thought he was really good.
He was more than like hell.
Did you see him at the end? Was it him at the end with Halliday where he's going absolutely nuts at him? Like it was. He's always like, "Calm down, mate."
Mate, I've never seen a player.
He lost it. Yeah, he lost it.
I've never seen a player wave his arms as much in the middle of a game, saying, like, basically, where's the movement, and then decides to pass to his centre back.
Yeah, he was quite the moaning little so-and-so, I thought, was Max Power. I was quite impressed with Jensen Metcalf, to be fair, in the first half, until he got the booking. And then I think you could tell that he knew he was on that booking and kind of faded out the game. So I was a little surprised in the end when I think he got the man of the match from the Bradford side.
He's found his way back into the team recently. Obviously, Max Power, we play two sort of sitting midfielders, and Max Power's captain, and obviously the first one that always plays if he's fit, touch wood. And then it's been Alex Patterson or Tommy Lee mainly as the second one. But just over the last 2 or 3 weeks, Jensen Metcalf's got in the team and seems to have taken his chance, really. I think there are high hopes for him at City. Obviously, had a loan spell at Chesterfield last season where he was raved about. We were linked with bringing him in on loan for this year, obviously a step up from League Two, and we've somehow managed to strike a permanent deal for him. He's on a 3-year contract, so I think that's us sort of trying to protect his value and protect our investment a little bit. I think he's somebody that we see somebody will develop with us and perhaps move up with us, or if we don't succeed and don't get promoted, we can perhaps sell on for profit. He's definitely someone that both supporters and I think analysts or pundits alike think that he's got a bit of a future in the game.
Yeah. I was really impressed with him in the first half, especially on Tuesday night when I'd say it was that first half an hour when City just didn't get going, but he was the only one that looked like he might actually be able to create a spark out of something. And I thought he did well. Let's kind of look ahead then very quickly, guys. It's Burton at the weekend. Your thoughts and your prediction for this one then?
It's all going to come down to how the game starts. I think, Chris, if we can get that early goal, I think we'll go on and win it. The longer, like I said, I've mentioned it a couple of times already, the longer the game goes on without us scoring, it becomes really, really frustrating. The crowd get angsty. That's why it's going to come down to the referee trying to. I think you want a strong referee who can stop the antics, stop the time wasting, stop the killing of the game. I mean, worst case scenario is that Burton score early doors, because if that happens, then it's just going to become a dire watch. It really, really is. We've had experience of Gary Bowyer before when he was manager, and obviously we spoke to Downes about it the other week. He approaches games like that probably 100% of the time away from home, and probably 75% of the time at home as well. So they are well versed in what they do, and it'll be a really, really tough nut to crack. But I just hope that we can get that early goal and have a strong referee, and then we can go on and win the game. The fact that we've not scored for a couple of games is a worry, so it could be good to get that monkey off our back as well.
Gaz is going 1-0 Bradford.
Gaz is saying now.
Let's move on then to Huddersfield Town. And Huddersfield, as I mentioned before, another side to go crashing out of the FA Cup at the weekend. Now, there was a full Town talk show last night with Stephen along with Kane. and Cal and
And Oliver.
the man in the Falkland Islands whose name completely has eluded me then. Can't.
Oliver.
Oliver, there we go. So town fans,
He's on the
you've,
thumbnail now. Seeing he's made it to the
Is
thumbnail, hasn't he, Steve?
Yeah. He's made it to the thumbnail. Yeah, I wanted to took Cal off, and he told me off, so I had to put Cal back on.
So that is there for town fans to go and watch the kind of the full in-depth debrief. But yeah, Steve, look, another week, another defeat for Huddersfield, and another game that Lee Grant fails to come out with any positivity or any shining lights, really.
Yeah, well, it was a chance for Lee Grant to get a win and you know have another sort of stay of execution, but the performance was poor overall. The day was flat. Only 800 town fans made the trip. When two seasons ago we took 2,500 there. Bolton only had. You what?
I know it's a cup game, but Christ on a bite, that's poor.
And Bolton only had 5,000 fans there themselves. So there was only 6,000 people inside the ground, and obviously I think we've all been to Bolton. It's a pretty big stadium. It's something like 27,000, something like that. So I'll be honest, it was pretty empty. I didn't go myself, but Cal did. He said it was just you could tell that neither team really wanted to play the game. It probably was the worst tie of the round, I think, because we'd played 2 weeks before. Both teams have been in sort of really dodgy form. Bolton have had a couple of wins, albeit in the last minute against us, and I forget the team that they beat in the last minute in the last game. But it was just a poor performance overall. Grant trying to mix and match the team with Gooch in midfield, and he's playing Radulovic up top. He got a start. Obviously, great to see Bojan score. He's our most informed striker, the one that we spent the least amount of money on, and come from Finland. So yeah, it's pretty dire situation at Huddersfield Town Football Club, to be honest. There's a lot of apathy, and I genuinely think you will see the lowest crowd ever recorded at the Aku Stadium tomorrow for when we play Mansfield in the Fisherman Friends Crap Cup, whatever it's called.
I think just the Virtue Motors Trophy, to give it its proper name.
Well done.
Yes, I think you're right, because it's not going to be on the season tickets. It's not an inspiring game because it's on in Mansfield in the EFL Trophy. Because of that, it kind of doesn't really matter too much in what the result is. As in, you could win 6-0, and it's not actually going to change any of the pressure that is currently on Lee Grant, regardless, because of the fact that it's, I say, it's only an EFL Trophy game. The big game, of course, for Lee Grant for Town is Plymouth at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it does. If we win tomorrow, we've got to win to go through, because obviously we lost to Harrogate 2 weeks ago. So we've got to win to make it through to the next round. I mean, just imagine that Huddersfield Town do not make it through this group. I mean, not being disrespectful to any of the teams in it, and obviously Newcastle under-21s, they came and the kids tried, but you know it's always difficult for the under-21 side. Harrogate, you would have expected Town to beat in League Two. So Mansfield being the toughest game, and you know Nigel Clough does have Mansfield playing really well. I mean, they've won a couple of games already this season. They're in decent form. I don't think they scored a lot of goals, but by saying that, the games are pretty tight that they win.
But they are above you in the table as well, to be fair.
They are above us in the table. Yeah, he's got them playing. He's got them playing. You know, some decent stuff. So, I'm expecting us to lose tomorrow. I think we'll lose. I think it. I don't think you'll hear many boos, because I think there'll be about genuinely. I think the crowd will be less than 900 people in the stadium. And the thing is, like, Grant really should use this opportunity to try different people in, like, give Kamashia a start, give Vost a start, give some of the kids a start. I mean, I'd be starting Kamashia against Plymouth, to be absolutely honest. The kids being one of the bright sparks of what has been a pretty crap start to the season. So, yeah, it's...
You Grant out yet, Downsy?
Yeah, I'm getting that way, Brownie. Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm getting that way. If he loses to Plymouth, I don't see the club having a choice. I think they'd have to get rid of him because, like, Plymouth is. It's quite amazing, actually. Like, the fact that Tom Cleverley and Lee Grant are coming up against each other, two very young head coaches, and they've both had a vote of confidence from their respective owners in the last week or so. Tells you everything you need to know about where the pressure is on this game coming on Saturday. It's the biggest game of the season. It's a defining game for the season. Win it, and Grant, stays for one or two matches longer. Lose it, I think he's got to go.
I mean, what is interesting is that I hadn't realised. I was I was consciously aware that Plymouth weren't doing particularly well this season. I hadn't realised recently just how badly they're doing. Third bottom at the moment, of course, relegated from the Championship last season. Currently third bottom in League One, 4 wins, 1 draw, and 9 defeats. Weirdly, I say they're only 6 points behind Town though. It's got El Sacchio written all over it, doesn't it? This one between Lee Grant and Tom Cleverley.
Plymouth fans hate Cleverley. They absolutely hate him. He goes over to. I watch. Obviously, many people might see the YouTuber Pieface and his videos. Obviously, he follows Plymouth up and down the land, and you watch the videos, and it's toxic. I'm telling you now, it's toxic at Town. But my God, that football club is ready to burst with Cleverley. I don't think we're too far away from that being at Town. The difference at Town is because we've had that for 6 years now. I think the energy, the ball of fire of frustration has just now burnt out. I mean, to only take 800 fans in the FA Cup, I think needs to tell the ownership and the people in charge. It's just a massive message, that, to me. 2 years ago, we took 2,500 to Bolton.
I think a lot of it for Plymouth at the moment as well is, to be fair though, the speed of how quickly they've fallen. Like, you were never in the position, to be fair, last season that Plymouth find themselves in now in terms of being in the relegation zone of League One, having been championships the season before at least.
Theirs is a steep bump. Ours has just been a slow decline into being crap over 6 years, without any real highlights to show for it. Of course, the other thing is Alfie May can play tomorrow, but will be suspended against Plymouth. So does he stick with Radulovic? I think he'll play Taylor tomorrow, and I think he's got to play Radulovic on against Plymouth.
Gaz?
You
at home or away against Plymouth, Downsy?
At home.
At home, that's a must-win game. That's me, who's very rarely puts statements out there like that, but it does feel very much like that, looking at you, that you've got to win that game. I mean, I look at Plymouth. They started really, really slowly, really poorly. Then they had a little bit of a bounce where they won 2 or 3 games, and you thought they're gonna come good, but they've just tailed off again, haven't they? They've just really tailed off. Like Chris says, they're in the bottom 3. To be honest, I don't know what result I hope for there, because as a City fan, obviously, it's nice to see Town not doing so well, but we got to Plymouth the week after. We've got Plymouth away a week on Saturday. So if you win that game and obviously you could see him then getting the boot and them having a new bounce against us. You know, you were saying about
a draw then, Gaz. A draw is what you need.
Possibly so. You know, you were saying about it'd be a shock. What would it feel like if Town didn't go through in the Virtue Motors Trophy? I don't think it'd be that big a deal, mate. What? You haven't been playing your strongest team in that competition anyway, have you? You've been rotating a hell of a lot, so it's clearly not a priority. So I really don't think they'd get hung up on that, would they?
He did. He played a pretty strong side against Harrogate, guys.
Did he? Did he really? Sorry, I hold my hands up then. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, he played a sprinkling of the kids, like Jay Sway, and there were George Yapenda, brother of Tom, that played. So there were some kids. Like, don't get me wrong, but he did play. The likes of Arness, Ledson played, Taylor played, Radulovic played. I can't remember if Alfie May came on. So,
I'm completely wrong. Then yeah, that's not good, is it? That's not good.
Goodman played, and obviously because he got sent off at Barnsley, he played. So I'll be honest, guys, I think normally I don't give a crap about this competition, but I do think it's a bit of an embarrassing statement if we don't make it out of this group with the team that he has played in the last match, and I think he's got to go strong tomorrow. I do.
You don't need to worry about Alfie May though, mate, because Grant'd play him at centre half anyway.
Probably he's not a striker apparently. Very depressing. Well, very depressing.
I mean, look, I know full well that the Grant in versus Grant out discussion was had on Town Talk last night, so we'll kind of skip that for now on the whole.
Oliver, bless him, tried to do his best of why Grant should stay, and me and Cow just ripped him to bits.
To be fair, it's one of those. I know where he's coming from, because at some point we've said this with Gaz on the show previously as well, in particular, that you can't keep sacking and changing managers. And Gaz obviously was a big advocate for that with Graham Alexander at City, because that's exactly what Bradford City have been doing for a few years when it wasn't going well, just chopping and changing. However, I think we all came to the agreement that of all the managers to settle on, Lee Grant probably isn't the one that you would bank to kind of come good at some point because of his inexperience.
I listened to his press conferences, Chris. I've listened to it today, and for the fourth week in a row, I'm not joking, the fourth week in a row, he's come out and said the players are angry. They're absolutely desperate to win for the football club. I've had players banging on my door saying they need to do more for the club. They need to do this. They need to. Well, do it then. You've had 6 matches in the last 4 weeks. Do it. What? It's all right coming out the first week and saying that, but by the 4th week, yesterday, or today, sorry, when they've done it, it's it's a bit boring now, mate. They're obviously not doing it, or they just don't want you in charge anymore, which obviously is a problem at Town, and we've spoken quite a bit about that in the group before. So, yeah, obviously there was a bit of trouble. I don't know if any of you saw it, but Joe Taylor went into the crowd on Saturday. A fan supposedly spat some chewing gum at him, which is absolutely disgusting and should never be done. And to be honest, that fan should have his ticket taken away, or banned from the ground or whatever. It's I don't condone that at all. But what I do think is it's about time the players started to understand. We're just sick of it now. It's 6 years. Give us some highlight. Give us some hope. There's just no hope in the club anymore.
Well, let's on that depressing note, let's move on away from Huddersfield Town.
Hey, FA Cup anyway. It's horrible. Just get rid of the competition. It's crap. It's had its day on it. 150 years.
He doesn't mean that, folks. He doesn't mean that. He's just being a knob.
West Yorkshire Football Show absolutely loves the FA Cup.
Yes, usually. Although this year, maybe it is a bit. Maybe I was waiting with this year with us all going out. Before we finish, then let's just wrap up with the non-league scene. As mentioned, FC Halifax Town, they went out of the FA Cup. And actually, Downes, you and I have been speaking only a few days prior to Halifax's game at home to Exeter in the Cup, and we both kind of looked and thought, well, on the right day, Halifax could cause an upset there and beat the League One side, but not to be.
Lou and I said the same on the pod last week. We said exactly that on the pod last week. Yeah. Sorry, go on, Downes.
What do we know, eh?
It was just one of those games where you just thought if Exeter came up north, didn't fancy it, if it were raining, if it were crap weather, they travelled 6 hours or whatever up. Halifax have obviously been in decent form in the National League, and you thought out of all the games at the weekend, that was like kind of one of the ones that you would have on your bet slip as a bit of a chance for a bit of a coupon, really. So I was a bit surprised that they didn't win. I think it was a close game, though, right? From what I've seen, like they didn't get embarrassed or anything.
No, 2-0 to Exeter was the full-time score.
Yeah, so it was a chance that I think Dave probably would have been licking his lips at it, trying to not that I want to think about Dave licking his lips, but I think it was a chance for them to get through. But the league's the most important thing, isn't it, for Halifax? Like they need to keep momentum up in the league and try and do whatever they can, hook or by crook, get into that playoff position. Yeah,
absolutely. Excuse me. Elsewhere, then in the non-league scene, the other big kind of news from our region was Northern Premier League side guys. They've made an appointment. Obviously, they parted ways with Mark Bauer and Danny Boschel a few weeks ago. They've appointed. They've taken a manager from elsewhere. They've taken Ian Richards, who was the manager at Stocksbridge Park Steels. He'd been there for the last 4 years or so. He's done really well. In fact, I saw their playoff final at Dunstan back in May when Stocksbridge won it on penalties, and they played some really good football. And he comes with a decent track record as well, having been fairly successful at Penistone Church for a good few years prior to his appointment at Stocksbridge. So he's joined Guiseley along with his backroom staff of Andy Ring and first team coach Pete Goldstraw. I know myself and Lou are hoping to do a non-league show later this week to focus a little bit more on that one. But of course, Guys fans, get in touch with us on the West Yorkshire Football Show. Let us know your thoughts and views on the pitch on Saturday. It was a bit of a disappointing afternoon, to say the least, for the Lions. And just bring this up, they were beaten at home 5-1 by Hensford Town in Liam Rydhalge's final game as caretaker. So Ian Richards hadn't taken over for that game as well. Also, for Guys fans, you can hear Ian's first interview with Colin Robertson from Geyser Radio across their social media channels as well at the club. But yeah, so in the league, the Guys are beaten heavily at home by Hensford into the MPL East, and Silsden with a good away win up at Blythe Town on Saturday. Braff Park Avenue continued or go back to winning ways with a 1-0 win against Garforth Town in the Yorkshire Derby. Brighouse also had a Yorkshire Derby as they won 1-0 against Pontefract Collieries. And Emily, they got a good win up in the northeast at Heaton Stannington, winning by 2-1. And then Ossett United, a disappointing afternoon for them with a 6-0 home defeat against Redcar Athletic. It is important to point out, though, that Redcar Athletic have scored about 127 goals already. They've got a plus 40-odd goal difference at this stage of the season. It is absolutely staggering. And Downsy, I'll come to you. Obviously, as a man that is well familiar with Emily in particular, and I'd say for them, that win at Heaton Stannington, keeping them in good stead.
Yeah, just keeping them in it. The chase, I think you might as well give Redcar the title now, to be absolutely honest, and shut down that top spot. I know it's a bit close between the second place in it, but let's be honest, the amount of goals and the goal difference that Redcar are putting in, it's absolutely stupid.
Just on that, it's 6 for Redcar Athletics, 16 games played, 13 wins, no draws, 3 losses. They have conceded 17 and they have scored 62 goals so far this season.
It's just pathetic. But yeah, Emily, they're just keeping in touch. I think,
they're sitting fourth.
Yeah, so the thing is with Emily is they haven't scored as many goals as what they have in the previous couple of seasons. So and obviously the attack has pretty changed now to what it was. So they've had a lot like change round of players. The back line's pretty stable. I know Richards had a few injuries to key players in the last couple of weeks. They've likes of Joe Clegg trying to get back, but keeps just getting these niggles, and it's a bit frustrating. But overall, I would say they're doing all right. Obviously, Bradford Park Avenue up there as well. Lose team, so the points total is quite close there. I think the other results that you went through. Silsden had a good win, like you said, and obviously Ossett. We just spoke about red card. I mean, if I were Ossett, I wouldn't be too worried. They've had a few good results in the last few weeks, haven't they? So they just need to keep going. I think, didn't you say Brighouse won 1-0 as well? That was a good result for Brighouse. So
yeah, really good result for Ramlack's side, that 1-0 win over Pontefract Collieries.
It was crap for all our pro teams, but actually in the lower divisions we can have some positivity. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say it's the non-leaders doing West Yorkshire proud. I'll quickly just run through some of the results in the NCL Premier Division over the course of the weekend. On Saturday, Albion Sports met Horbury in a Yorkshire derby. Horbury Town came out with a 3-2 win with that.
Go on, Brownie,
with
lad.
some very, very late goals in that game. Albion Sports went ahead by 2-1 in the 87th minute, pegged back in the 89th by James Cudworth. And then Joe Jagger popped up with a late 90-plus winner for Horbury Town. So they ran out 3-2 winners at Albion. Eccleshill United were beaten by 3-1 away at Barton Town. Frickley, they got a 4-1 win over Rossington Main. Liversidge beat Campion by 4-1. So Liversidge maintaining their lead at the top of the NCL Premier. Golka lost out in an absolute thriller down at Rotherham. They played Parkgate, and it finished Parkgate 5, Golka United 4. Penistone Church were beaten 2-0 at home by Pickering Town. And finally, Thackley, they were beaten by a 0 at home against Beverley Town. In the NCL Division 1, Nostell Miners Welfare, they lost 5-0 away at Armthorpe. South Leeds lost 2-0 away at Brigg Town. Glasselton Welfare, they lost 4-1 away at Crowell Colts. Leeds UFCA, they picked up a good 5-0 win over Appleby Frodium. Route 1 Rovers, they had a good away win, 4-0 away at Selby Town. And we've mentioned his name a few times in recent weeks. Zach Khan with another hat-trick in the NCL Division 1. That man...
Come to town. Come to town. We'll have you at town, honestly.
A Town need a goal scorer, and Zach Khan is definitely...
I'm the Leeds at this rate.
They can have Alfie May. They can have Alfie May, and we'll have Zach Khan. That's a fair trade, that.
Final result in NCL Division 1 was Ilkley losing at Worsborough Bridge. Just chat amongst yourselves for a second, I am. So just checking. So Zach Khan is on 31 league goals plus 5 in the cup. 36 goals so far for the season. I'd say 31 of them in the league.
And how many games?
Slightly mad thing is, though, that when you consider that Route 1 Rovers, I'd say only, they're going well, but they're only 8th in the table, which is to have a man on the goal scoring form of Zach Khan and not be in those like that top 5 in those playoff places at this stage is mad.
How many games has that Chris City scored it in?
Let me just double check. So Route 1 have played 18 games and he's got 31 goals in the league, assuming that he's played in every one, which I think he has actually. But he might have missed at most 1 or 2.
And how many games does he play? 36?
He's scored 36.
No. How many games did he? How many games did he play in that league?
22 team league. So is that 42?
Yeah, 42.
How old is he? Did you say how old?
He's only kind of early to mid 20s, around the 22. I don't want to do with this series, but I'm fairly sure he's only around 22, 23-year-old.
He could be on.
What's his likely pathway then? What do you think his likely kind of career trajectory is?
This is the difficulty because he done well at Route 1 Rovers when they were in the northwest counties. They ended up being relegated, but then getting a reprieve when they then switched to the Northern Counties East. I mean, he had a season. Well, he had a brief period away at Campion where he'd kind of gone up a level to the NCL Prem side, scored a few goals, but then for some reason just fell out of favour. Went back to Route 1 Rovers, and it's one of those. He's just, you get the impression that he's so at home there, like he's playing with his mates. Every game for him must feel like a kickabout because he's just playing with his mates. It's where he's kind of been, and then you look at it and think, will he be able to make that step up? Because obviously everyone's looking, aren't they, at the pyramid nowadays, that next Jamie Vardy. And it's whether he can or he can't, whether he'd want to almost. It'll be an interesting one. I'd love to kind of, at some point, we'll have to get him on and kind of and see what he kind of thinks for his career, because without a doubt there will be sides at, you know, Northern Premier League East, Northern Premier League, probably even National League North, that will be looking at the numbers alone and thinking, well, he's going to be worth a look, because you can't ignore that sort of goal scoring record at, you know, at this stage.
I remember when Ash Flynn scored 70 goals for Emley, and he was genuinely being talked about as National League level, like people coming in for him.
Where is he now, Downsy?
What, Ash Flynn?
Well, he's 36
he's
now.
Retired.
He's Ash Flynn, and he
He's
started the
retired,
season at well, no, he hasn't. He started the season at Wakefield. I think he'd hit like 13 or 14 goals this season for Wakefield in the NCL Division 1. Last I'd seen him, for some reason, he'd left Wakefield despite his goal-scoring record. So I'm not quite sure whether he's got himself another club yet. I'll have to check social media and see if he's got. He wouldn't surprise me if he has, because he just loves playing the game. I remember seeing him play for, I think he played for, you know, with Albion in a pre-season friendly against Avenue a year or two ago, and he just keeps, he'll go on forever, I swear, with Ash Flynn.
This lad.
What level did he play at? What was the highest level he got to?
Oh, I'm not sure. It was a decent level.
No, it's just with you saying that he was being linked with Conference North, National League North. I wondered if he ever got to that level.
Don't think he ever did. I think the kind of I think the kind of highest he would have hit, I think, we might have been the NPL East.
See Vardy scoring against Juventus, by the way.
That's it.
Yeah, Vardy.
The conversation's gone from Route 1 to Vardy scoring against Juve. Love it.
It's fair, though, because this is the thing. And you go back all those years, and obviously we mentioned Stocksbridge earlier on, obviously being Ian Richards' former club, but you go back all those years when Jamie Vardy was getting the goals for the likes of Stocksbridge Park Steels in the Northern Prem East or whatever. Like, little did they know that obviously what a career he'd have, where at the age of, what is he now, 39? He's gone from playing in our non-league pyramid to scoring against Juventus still, with a Premier League title in between. Like,
and when you think about it, this Zach Carniff, he's only 22, if that's his age. You know, I mean, Vardy was a very, very late bloomer, even when he moved to Fleetwood, wasn't he? So, you know, it's not in the realms of possibility.
Yeah, he'd have been mid-20s when he got that EFL move to Fleetwood, as you say. So this is the thing. And as I say, the numbers don't lie. You know, clubs will look at the numbers and then send themselves scouts out to the likes of Route 1 just to go and have a look at it and see what happens. So it's been interesting to keep tabs, I think, because you've got to think at some point somebody will make you an offer to go, you know, up, whether it's 1 league or 2 leagues or 3 leagues or whatever, but we'll make an offer that you'll think, you know, that could be a really good career move for him. And yeah, time will tell. Time will tell. Any other business then before Brownie drags us off down another random route like Vardy scoring against Juventus?
No, I just can't support any team in the Leeds v Forest game this weekend because I hate both teams just as much.
Come on, Downsy, pick one. Just support Leeds.
Brownie,
one game.
Brownie.
When you support Leeds in this one game,
Brownie,
you can come on match review with me and Jay.
Hey, I'd love to come on the match review and take crap out of Forest, but I couldn't say how good about Leeds. So
I'll never forget that one we did. It were me, you, Jay, and Cal. Do you remember?
Oh yeah,
that were classic.
Leeds v Town, and it just turned into chaos.
Yeah,
I think that's when Hoggy got sent off. Actually,
yeah.
Me and Cal wanted to nut Jay.
Yeah, was it not like a 4-1, 5-1 win for Leeds or something, that one?
No, I don't think so.
But so, no, it was something because we were a bit like about it. It wasn't the 1-1 draw, but it was like I don't know. We
I think it was like
weren't too
3-1
happy.
or 2-1 or
I
something.
can't remember why though.
Jay just didn't want to be on a stream with me, to be honest.
Well, we
Right,
will
Chris, wrap it up, lad.
there. Yeah, let's wrap it up there before we digress
Had enough
onto
depression for one night.
trips down memory lane and football related depression. Yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Big thank you to everyone that is joining us on over the course of the evening tonight. Big thank you to Stephen Browne, to Gareth Walker, and to Stephen Downes. Keep an eye on our social media for more content coming over the course of this week. But for myself, Chris Bell, and the rest of the lads, enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you soon.